Hi, my name is Phoebe Quinn, and I move more slowly now. At my dad's birthday barbecue in Denver, I moved with care. Then Sabrina's hand snatched my crutch mid-step, her nails digging in hard. "Stop faking it, Phoebe, you're just clinging to handouts," she yelled. I pitched forward onto the grass, my ribs throbbing, my cheeks scraping the dirt. Laughter erupted around me, sharper than the backyard speakers. Phones lifted, filming my fall as if I weren't fully human. Naomi froze near the table, her hand pressed over her mouth. My parents stayed by the grill, their eyes fixed anywhere but on me. I lay there, hearing whispers, feeling every stare like a verdict. I didn't yet know who was watching or what he would reveal. Someone grabbed my crutch and tore the mask off my whole family. "Before we start, tell me where you're watching from and drop it below for echoes of life." The fall wasn't new pain. It was a reminder of everything before this barbecue. 2 years earlier, a car crushed my spine on I-25. The doctors said walking again would take luck and discipline. Therapy taught me balance, breath, and fear in small doses. Crutches became permanent, not temporary, a fact my family ignored. Sabrina called them props long before she grabbed one today. She joked that I used them to avoid responsibility and real work. Those words stuck, settling deeper than any bruised rib. My parents didn't challenge her bitterness. Mom hated conflict more than injustice, especially family injustice. Dad believed silence solved problems he didn't want named. Their quiet shaped everything I carried after the crash. Before therapy, I documented every appointment: discharge notes, pain scales, progress sheets, insurance denials. I saved them, hoping someone would believe me someday. But believing me meant accepting I wasn't the daughter they remembered, so they pretended I was recovering normally to protect their comfort. Andrew's clinic sighting hurt more than he realized. He saw 10 seconds of training, not my daily collapse. He turned effort into evidence against me, and everyone echoed him. Aunt Clara filmed my struggle like it was entertainment. Her camera always found my weakest moments. She said recording kept things honest, but honesty wasn't her goal. I kept swallowing doubt to keep the peace, but peace cost too much. Every whisper, every accusation, every sideways glance felt heavier than the crutches themselves. And deep down, I wondered if they had ever seen me clearly. I wondered how long I'd survive inside their version of me. I thought surviving impact was hard. Surviving disbelief was worse. The backyard noise grew sharper around me. Sabrina stood taller, like a performer hitting her cue. "She's faking everything," she shouted toward the picnic tables. "She mooches off Mom and Dad and plays the victim." Her voice sliced through the chatter, gathering relatives like a whistle. Aunt Clara angled her phone toward my face. Her smirk twitched, hungry for the next reaction. Joanna let out a high laugh, clapping like bad TV. Andrew folded his arms, nodding like he'd solved a mystery. "I saw her walking at the clinic," he repeated loudly. "She didn't need help then." His confidence rewrote my therapy into a conspiracy. I gripped my remaining crutch, my knuckles tight with fear. "The accident crushed my spine," I said, forcing breath. "I can't walk unaided." My voice wobbled, but the truth didn't. Joanna snickered before the words even settled. Mom stood near the drinks table, her eyes on plastic cups. She didn't lift her head. She didn't look at me. Dad flipped burgers with perfect disinterest, his face turned away. Their silence turned the backyard into a courtroom. Sabrina paced the grass like a prosecutor in sandals. "She drains our parents," she said, stabbing the air. "She pretends she's helpless to avoid growing up." Each sentence added weight to my chest. Each accusation became another reason for them to distrust me. My friend Naomi stayed close, her phone angled low. Her eyes were wet, but her hands were steady.
"Keep breathing," she whispered, barely audible. Her voice held me upright when the crowd didn't.
The murmurs grew louder than Sabrina's shouts. Relatives traded theories like cheap gossip. A few nodded decisively, choosing sides without facts. Their faces blurred, but their judgment felt sharp. I tried again. That clip at the clinic wasn't me walking. It was therapy practice, one step at a time. But my explanation drowned beneath Aunt Clara's chuckle. They heard everything, but listened to nothing. The backyard blurred with smoke, noise, and disbelief. It felt like standing alone on thin ice. Their eyes weren't curious, they were convinced, and I felt smaller than I'd ever felt before. Then a shadow stepped forward from behind the grill. A calm presence, steady and familiar. Dr. Stephen Brooks moved through the crowd without hesitation. His expression carried no doubt, no hesitation, no fear. He rested one hand on Sabrina's shoulder. Everything around us slowed instantly. That day, my body was on trial, and silence was the judge. If your own family doubted your pain like this, what would you choose? Type 1 if you'd stay silent to survive the moment. Type 2 if you'd ask for receipts, even if it breaks the room. Your voice matters here on Echoes of Life. Dr. Brooks's hand rested gently on Sabrina's shoulder. Her presence shifted the entire backyard. Laughter thinned. Whispers stalled. Even the grill smoke seemed to pause midair. "She's not faking," he said, his voice calm but heavy. "I can prove it." 6 words, 6 quiet, measured words that cracked the crowd open. Aunt Clara lowered her phone for the first time all afternoon. Joanna's grin vanished like someone flipped a switch. Andrew straightened, jaw tight, confidence draining fast. Mom froze with a cup halfway lifted. Dad finally looked up from the grill, his eyes uncertain. Dr. Brooks stepped beside me, protective but composed. He unlocked his phone with practiced ease. "I record patient sessions for progress tracking," he explained softly. This was Tuesday. He tapped the screen. The video filled the backyard with truth. There I was, gripping parallel bars, legs trembling violently. My breath came in sharp bursts. Every inch forward looked like a battle for survival. My crutches waited in the corner, necessary, not optional. No filters, no edits, no room for doubt. The crowd leaned closer, drawn by undeniable evidence. Joanna covered her mouth. Andrew's face drained of color. Aunt Clara lowered her eyes to the grass. Dr. Brooks kept his gaze steady. "Her spinal damage is permanent," he said. "She works harder than you realize, and she deserves honesty from her own family." Silence spread slowly, like cold water. A guilty, heavy silence that exposed everything they'd ignored. Sabrina finally spoke, her voice cracking. "I was just trying to protect Mom and Dad," she whispered. It wasn't an apology. It was fear wearing a thin disguise. I looked around the backyard, feeling my pulse steady. The same relatives who mocked me now avoided my eyes. Every laugh from earlier suddenly felt crueler. Every whisper seemed louder, and every silent parent felt heavier on my chest. The video kept playing. My struggle filled the speakers meant for party music. Hearing my own pain echo across the yard was surreal. It wasn't embarrassment. It was clarity. They could finally see what I lived every day, and it took someone else's proof to make it real. Dr. Brooks paused the video and looked at me gently. "You don't have to stay here," he murmured. For the first time that day, my body felt lighter. The gate behind the patio looked less like an exit and more like a choice. I tightened my grip on my crutch. Naomi stepped closer, her phone still in hand. Her eyes said everything my family never said. 6 quiet words turned their gossip into evidence and their certainty into fear. The ride to the hospital felt strangely quiet. Naomi sat beside me, holding her phone tightly. Dr. Brooks drove with steady hands, watching me carefully. My ribs ached, but the silence hurt more. At the hospital, Dr. Brooks checked my injuries. "No new damage," he said softly, "but you've had enough for one day."
His kindness felt sharper than my family's silence. Naomi helped me said, her voice low, "We're not letting them rewrite your pain." Those words steadied something inside me. I pulled out my phone. I searched for legal help without hesitation. Naomi scrolled through her contacts quickly. "I know someone," she said firmly. "Lisa Donovan, disability rights. She's fierce." Lisa answered on the first ring. Her voice was sharp, focused, professional. I explained everything quickly. The fall, the accusations, the video. She listened without interrupting. "This is harassment and defamation," she said. "We can file for emotional and financial damages." The decision surprised me with its clarity. "I'm ready," I said quietly. "I'm suing her." Naomi squeezed my hand with pride. "I'll testify," she whispered. "We have everything we need." Detective Mark Peterson met me days later. He reviewed Naomi's recording carefully, the jeers, the fall, Sabrina's accusations, Clara's laughter, every detail documented. "This qualifies as assault on a disabled person," he said. His pen scratched steadily across his notebook. But the backlash didn't stop at paperwork. Naomi's video hit social media unexpectedly. Someone shared it. Then someone shared it again. Within days, it spread across Denver, but comments were relentless. People were furious. Hashtags about disability rights surged. Sabrina's job terminated her quickly. Reputational risk, their statement said. Her friends distanced themselves almost overnight. The world she built collapsed quietly. Aunt Clara faced her own reckoning. Viewers attacked her laughter in the video. Her social accounts went private instantly. Joanna mailed me a handwritten apology. It was shaky, honest, almost childlike. I wasn't ready to respond. Mom called next. Her voice shook, but not with remorse. "Don't sue your sister, Phoebe," she pleaded. "This will tear our family apart." Family had already torn itself apart, I thought, but I said nothing. Instead, I threw myself into therapy. Every lift, every stretch, every trembling step became fuel. I started a blog that night. At first, only to breathe. Then readers found me. Then thousands more. Their stories mirrored mine painfully. We formed a quiet, fierce community. I wasn't hidden anymore. I wasn't doubted anymore. I wasn't alone anymore. This stopped being family drama the moment I filed my own paperwork. Months passed, and the noise finally softened. My blog grew quietly, one honest post at a time. Strangers became community. Stories became bridges, and my voice felt steadier than ever. Then I saw Sabrina again. She stood near the clinic desk wearing a volunteer badge. Her eyes flicked toward my crutches, then to my face. "I'm trying to understand," she said softly. "The pain, the work." Her words hung between us like fragile glass. I nodded once. "That's good," I said calmly. "But it's not about you." I turned toward the therapy room without hesitation. For the first time, my steps felt fully mine. Mom texted days later. "How's your health, sweetheart?" The message carried warmth and distance. I didn't reply. Peace sometimes means closing familiar doors. A year after the barbecue, everything shifted again. The Denver Disability Alliance honored my writing. They handed me a small glass plaque on stage. The applause felt warm, earned, real, not forced, not conditional, not fragile. Back home, I placed the plaque on my shelf, not as proof, but as a reminder. I survived doubt. I survived silence. And I built something stronger than their approval. My journey wasn't revenge. It was reclamation. My body, my story, my boundaries. I still write, I still heal, I still choose my life carefully. And I no longer wait for family to see me. I didn't fix my family. I documented my freedom and walked away. If this resonated, please like the video, share it with someone exhausted, and subscribe to stay for the next story here on Echoes of Life.